Hey, welcome back to Nerd News Today. This is Matthew, and we are continuing our look at the first wave of Mattel's Masters of the Universe Revelation action figures. Now, previously we had the first wave of figures, which was Skeletor, He-Man, Evil Lyn, and Mossman. Today we are focusing on the deluxe figures, and these are pretty interesting figures here. So we have on this side Battlecat, and we have over here SkeleGod. So what's really interesting about this pair of figures more so is that SkeleGod was the first Masters of the Universe Revelation figure to hit shelves. And they hit shelves way in advance of the Netflix series even coming out. So whether that was a mistake, whether it was a brilliant marketing ploy, who really knows the truth about it, but this guy hit and had people talking. Because everybody was like, why the heck is Skeletor all muscled up, and who is this character? What is this? Is it even Skeletor? Is it someone else? Now, if you haven't seen the series, obviously you don't know the context to this, so I would not recommend watching further. SkeleGod was a pretty cool looking figure and really stood out on shelves. Now, Battlecat, obviously, you can't have a He-Man line without a Battlecat, and this is, again, been another pretty hard one to find, but surprisingly a little bit easier than the actual figures themselves. So go figure, the two biggest items in this first wave of figures are actually the ones that are the easiest to find on shelves. Who knew? So packaging, as you guys can see, it's basically the same as that very first wave of Masters of the Universe Revelation figures. Big blue boxes, and I mean big. I mean, SkeleGod is a beefy box over here, and Battlecat, that's like a foot-long sausage right there. I don't really know any way to put it. It's pretty ginormous. But they all match how the other waves looked. The back of the packages, again, same as the other figures too. We've got bios, and fairly nice bios about the characters as well. We've got really awesome illustration, which is perfect. That kind of harkens back to the original figures. And on the bottom, we also get to see who else is in that wave, which we've already looked at. But in case you haven't seen it, well, here they are again. So yeah, we're not going to spend too much time on the boxes because, I mean, what you guys see is what you're going to get. And I don't collect mint on card anyway, so let's go ahead, get our figures out of the box, and take a closer look at them. All right, and we are back, and here is our Battlecat and our SkeleGod out of the packaging. Very imposing figures, very cool looking. Let's start things off, I think, with SkeleGod, because like I said, he was the first figure to actually come out in this entire series, so I think he deserves that spotlight first. So SkeleGod is enormous. How enormous is he? Well, let's compare him to Skeletor, who we looked at previously, and he is bit taller. He's at least a head taller, maybe a head and a half taller, in fact. So he does size up quite considerably compared to that figure. We're going to leave the Skeletor over here during this review because I think I'm going to probably reference him a few times, and I'm actually going to do it right now, in fact, because I want to talk about the head sculpt. So when we did the review for Skeletor in that first wave of figures, I kind of complained about Skeletor's head being a little boring, a little bland. And looking at SkeleGod, I feel validated saying that now, because the SkeleGod here is way nicer than what Skeletor has. And it's not like they did that much differently to him, but the little things that they did do make a difference. He's got a lot more paint detail, a lot more shading on his face, which helps him really pop a little bit better than the other Skeletor does there. The eyes are painted a little bit nicer too. And of course, having that awesome helmet does help him pop out. But just talking about the skull itself, because that is all the likeness that there is for Skeletor, there's a lot more going on here. The teeth pop out better, the facial features pop out better, or lack thereof. It's just a much nicer head sculpt, and I kind of wish they'd done that to the Skeletor figure too. Skeletor has a giant bunch of armor all over himself, which includes these shoulder pads here, these awesome looking gauntlets that are on his hands over here. You can hear him, he's pretty stiff out the box, which was one of the things we talked about in the other video as well, just how stiff these toys were. Awesome looking loincloth here with this just awesome armor. This is really great looking armor. And I gotta say too, really wonderful paint job. Nice little green highlights on this thing. This just got a really solid, clean paint job, and I didn't have any complaints about that in the other video either. So again, like, they're doing a really great job just that part of it. He's very imposing looking. I like all the angular features that this figure has, especially compared to the Skeletor here. You know, they kind of kept the whole look of him in mind and just basically expanded upon it and made it bigger and more dramatic, which is very much a Skeletor thing to do. I think one of my favorite parts about this figure, though, is the cape. And I think this is just a really awesome cape. One of the best capes I've seen in a long time in toys, and very surprising to me. And we'll turn around and show you guys Skeletor's cape, too, because I thought Skeletor had a really nice cape, and I still do. This is a really nice cape for a 6-inch action figure. This just goes above and beyond, though, because this isn't just one piece of fabric. This is multiple pieces of fabric with some hard plastic mixed into it, which is just really cool. Look at that. There's like a little actual 3-dimensional diamond flapping over there. Really nice. I mean, this is just good detail work, good attention to detail. I'm happy that it is the soft goods here and not like just a piece of vinyl or something like that. I hate when capes just do that. If it's going to be plastic, I want it to be hard plastic, or I want it to be fabric. And in this case, man, they really went above and beyond with it, so that is awesome. I like this translucent green fire that's coming out of Skeletor's neck over here, or SkeleGod, I should say. Yeah, so in terms of the look, this is very good. I'm going to get this Skeletor out of the way for a moment. But how does he articulate, considering how enormous he is? Luckily, these shoulder pads are pretty flexible, you guys can see. So you can actually do some posing. In fact, there you go. You can actually get his arms up surprisingly higher than I expected, because I thought it was hard plastic seeing it in the package, but no, it is soft plastic, so you can actually get some good posing, and otherwise his articulation is the same as the other figures. So yeah, that is very impressive too. I mean, even the loincloth here, the side armor he's got for his hips, it's flexible, so he can move his legs around. Double jointed knees as well, which are very stiff out the box. Everything's moving though. His feet are moving. I mean, he's got the exact same amount of articulation as the rest do. That's great. I really can't say enough about that part. Now, in terms of accessories, SkeleGod comes with a few things, but he's a little light on accessories. He comes with 2 additional sets of hands, which are closed fists, and one of those fists can be used to hold the power sword, which is what happens at the end of the first 5 episodes. And we can go ahead and put that on here. Let's swap a hand out now, just see how that works, see if it's easy. And, oh, cool, the gauntlets can come off. That's good to know in case you want to do any customizing. Let's see how easy the hand goes back in, especially with this gauntlet sliding around. That is the one downside of this material, is that it's a little soft and a little rubbery, so you're going to have to fight with things a little bit, but not impossible. And there he is. You've got the power sword in his hand. And finally, he comes with a big ol' honkin' green energy blast. So I don't know if this is meant to go on like this hand. Looks like it's probably going to fit the fist better. Yeah, you can see it like that right there. I don't know if it's going to fit this hand or not. Kind of does, but yeah, not necessarily. But that's how this would go. You can basically put it on his fist. You can put that on there, and you can do a nice dragon uppercut with that. So that's really cool. You might be able to maybe have him hold it. No, it's a little too awkward, but all right, good try. You know, for the most part, accessories are very nice. Really no complaints. Very nice figure. And definitely a good way to kind of kick off the toy series by having this guy in stores first, because, man, he just looks really good, and he's going to look great next to so many other types of figures out there. So that is SkeleGod. Let's take him out of the shot for a second, and let us move on to our Battlecat figure here. So this is our Battlecat. This is a hefty figure, as you guys can see here. He is fully articulated, and he reminds me a lot of the Matty Collector days of their version of Battlecat. Of course, there's a lot of differences to it as well, but I can see a lot of the similarities here in how they engineered this piece. Let's actually take off his helmet first, and you can see the Cringer face underneath it. I want to see that in particular because I want to see if the jaw moves. I don't know if it moves or not. Let us find out. Yes, the jaw moves. All right, that makes me very happy. I'd be really disappointed if that jaw didn't move. You gotta have it move. But Prince Adam, I don't want to go to battle. Yeah, that's perfect. And yes, if you're wondering, this piece also does come off. I'm not going to take it off because I don't want to battle with it, but it actually looks like it's not going to be too terrible to get it back on and off. I mean, I can see here how it's set up. That's actually really nice, and we're going to come back to this in a little bit. In terms of articulation, he's got some good articulation too. I mean, granted, you're not going to necessarily move him around a lot, but I'm pretty impressed by how much articulation there is here. Are these ball jointed? Yeah, his arms, or I should say his front legs, are ball jointed. Yeah, and let's see if the back leg, yeah, the back legs are ball jointed too. I think the tail is articulated also, and oh, I think this might be a piece of, no, okay, it's not, I don't think it's rubber on here. I don't think it's a metal wire, but it does have a little bit of flexibility. The tail does move. The head can move nicely. Looks like the head is not ball jointed, it just goes up and down. Yeah, that just goes up and down, but rather the neck is not ball jointed, the head is ball jointed. Let's put this helmet back on, which you guys here can see a better look of it now. It's got the eyes painted on there. That's fun. So that's our Battlecat. But let's see if he can actually take our He-Man figure for a ride. And to be honest, I actually already know the answer to this, and it is a not really. It's pretty awkward looking. That's one of the complaints I've seen of this figure, is that He-Man does fit it, but he looks very awkward on it. Case in point, you guys can see, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not great either. I think, let's see, we can probably move these legs around a little bit to make it a little bit more natural looking. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's still, yeah, I don't like how it looks. Yeah, I don't know, you guys, that just looks funny to me. I don't know how it looks for you guys, but it's not working for me. I'm not really digging it. That's disappointing. And for a point of reference here, I'm actually going to bring in another mount we looked at fairly recently, and that would be right here. This is Balius from the Mythic Legions. He is from the Four Horsemen. It's part of their Mythic Legions line. And why am I bringing him out? Not just to compare, but also to remind you guys that the original Matty Collector figures were done by the Four Horsemen, and they did some amazing work. Then they designed all these original He-Man figures that I love so much. And to be quite honest, I think they're superior than what we got currently from Mattel right now. So I want to see how He-Man fits. I think He-Man fits a little bit better, but not that much better. It's still kind of awkward. Still not too great. You know, I'm trying to think what they can do with the legs here. It's just kind of weird. I mean, it's kind of cool that he does fit on the horse, but that's really for a different video altogether. So Battlecat looks really cool, but the problem is He-Man can't really effectively ride him. It looks really awkward when he's on there, so I think this is probably the best way to display him, and that's to have him just side by side. And that's kind of disappointing. I kind of wish you could actually have him ride and look better, but that's just kind of how this figure works. It's unfortunate. Do I still think it's worth the money for it? I mean, yeah, I guess so, but to be honest, again, I still way prefer the Matty Collector version. I think the fur was a lot nicer. Articulation is similar, but I like the paint job also. I mean, I was talking about how clean the paint job was in the other figures. Cringer is kind of weak, actually, and you can see there's a lot of like orange bits missing over here, over there, on his tail as well. It's like not really as thick as it could be. I don't, I guess, necessarily dislike that. I just think it's not as strong of a paint job as I would have liked to have seen. Like even this color of green here, it's so accurate, but it's kind of weak looking. I don't know, something about it, it's just very plain. I would have loved to have some like weathering effect. Like for anybody out there who's doing model making, grab some Agrax Earthshade, dump it on here, you'll see what I mean. It's gonna probably look a lot nicer with that. It just needs some kind of shading to make it pop more, because it just feels very flat. And I think Matty Collector did a much better job of making him feel a lot more ferocious. With the helmet, without the helmet on, yeah, just... The face, I mean, the face is cool because it is kind of cartoony, like it should be. But, you know, I don't know, I guess I want something a little bit more ferocious from this Battlecat, and it's not doing it for me. And just because, why not? Let's actually see how SkeleGod looks on Battlecat. You know what? SkeleGod looks better. What am I saying? SkeleGod looks way better on Battlecat than He-Man did. Prove me wrong, you guys, but that looks pretty awesome. I think it's going to have to be how I end this video, because you cannot top this image right here of SkeleGod riding Battlecat. And yeah, the question is, will they be making a Panther at some point? I hope they do, because that would be pretty great. But again, Skeletor's not going to be able to ride him, so what are you going to do? But overall, for my money, I mean, these are definitely both good figures. I'm actually surprised how much I like SkeleGod, because when I saw him in stores, he was cool looking, but again, with no context, I was like, whatever. Now that I've seen the show, now I know a little bit more about what's going on, I'm definitely more into it. And it's just a good, solid overall figure. Battlecat also looks very good. It's just a shame that your figures are not going to be able to really ride him the way it's meant to be. And yes, that sounds very weird the way I said that, but it's true. Prove me wrong. He's got good articulation. He's got some nice accessories with all the removable armor pieces. But, you know, figures can't really ride him that well. That's kind of lame. I do like his jaw. That's like the best part, I think, for sure. The head is nice. But, you know, if I had to skip anything in the line, it probably would end up being Battlecat, because it's, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I just feel like it's not clicking with me as much as I want it to. And that Matty Collector one really spoiled me compared to this one here. But otherwise, I mean, if you're a He-Man fan, these are must-haves. And I think SkeleGod is going to be one to definitely get, because, yeah, we're going to probably be seeing a lot more of him in Season 2. So that's our look at the deluxe figures from the first Masters of the Universe Revelation series from Mattel. If you want to pick these up for yourself, we're going to have a few different affiliate links to places where you can try to find them, including Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store. And you can find them in certain stores as well, but good luck with that. Let me know what you guys think of the series so far. Let me know what you think of the toys as well, and who you want to see in Series 3, 4, 5, and beyond. And we already know who's going to be in Series 2, so I'm excited to see how far this line's going to go, and see if maybe they can keep me interested, because as of right now, you know, I like them, but I don't think I'm going to be buying full waves again. It's definitely going to be cherry picking for me from here on out. We'll have to see what they can do to impress me. So until next time, I'm Matthew. Thanks for watching. Check out more of our videos on Nerd News Today to see all of our other toy reviews and all the other content that we make here. And until we see you again, I have the power, or at least SkeleGod has the power, and that is a scary thought. We'll see you guys next time.